So today we're going to be talking about the VG15S. I got a comment from a viewer asking about some durability issues that they had with the VG15S, and I had the exact same issue. I'm going to explain what the issue was and how to fix it.
Where are you going? Get out of the way!
Now, the problem the person had with the VG15S was that the light began flickering after a couple of days of use and then stopped working entirely. Now, I don't generally do long-term durability reviews of flashlights for a couple of reasons. One is that I really don't have the time and inclination to do it, because I would have to either take the lights to work and start using them every day as my duty light in order to get the type of wear on them that they would need in order for me to see what the long-term durability is of them, or I'd have to just go out and intentionally destroy them, which, I mean, is a lot of work and doesn't really do anything to tell you how it's going to work under normal operating conditions. So the closest thing I get to doing long-term durability testing on flashlights is giving them to my son. My son has a fetish for flashlights. He's 6 years old, and the great thing about him is that no matter what I give him, he is going to treat it the exact same way. He doesn't care if it's a $20 flashlight like this VG15S, or if it's a $70 flashlight, or it's a $200 flashlight. If he's playing in the yard and he wants to pound nails and I tell him, no, you can't have the hammer, he's going to take the flashlight and he's going to pound nails with the flashlight because he doesn't care what it costs. All he knows is he's got something heavy that he wants to use. He throws the thing, he picks at the parts of it, he plays with it, he clips it to his pocket, he pulls on the clip and bends it because he's sitting in his seat in the car, bending it, because he doesn't understand that things break. Makes it real good for knowing how these things are going to react to people just straight up abusing them. And very quickly when he had it, the first thing that he did was he picked the button off the back of the flashlight, which is actually fairly easy to do. Right there. If you try to take the button off the back of the flashlight, the little button cover is going to come off. So that was the first thing he did, is he ripped the button cover off, and I had to figure out how to get that back in there. Luckily, I have a pretty good understanding of how these are put together from using lights from a bunch of other companies. And the next thing he did after I figured out how to just kind of jam the button back into the back of it, because it's just kind of pressed in, is it started flickering and then stopped working. So I put it to the side, and then a couple days later I came back to it and I says, oh, you know what? I know normally you can take the tail cap apart and you can put the button cover back in, and then slide all the parts back in and tighten them down. So I bet you something came loose back there. And what I found is that, not surprisingly, when you buy a $20 flashlight, the money that you don't spend buying an $80 flashlight that has the same performance lighting-wise is going to be lost somewhere. It's either going to be lost in materials or it's going to be lost in quality control. And in this case, what you get is you got a $20 to $25, maybe $30 flashlight, depending on when you bought it and what sale you get it on. And the reason you get to spend half the amount of money to get the same number of lumens coming out of the thing is that you're getting lower quality control. Just like anything else, when you assemble something, you then have to have a person check it. And the more people you have to have check the thing, the more expensive the light's going to be. That's why when you get a light from, say, Streamlight or Surefire or something that is essentially the same thing, it's going to cost 2 or 3 times more, because manpower is the primary cost of almost every business and every manufacturing business. It's the manpower that's expensive, not the components of the material that they're making. So what I found by using a bunch of these and letting my son use them is that the parts aren't always tightened down, and in a flashlight that causes continuity issues. So the problem that I found with the VG15S, that I will show you right here, take the tail cap off, and inside is a ring, you see it right in here, with 2 little detents in it. Detent there and a detent on the other side. Now those are so that you can unscrew the rings. So if the little tail cap button comes out on you, you have to unscrew this ring, take all the parts out, put the tail cap back in, and put it all back together again. These tended to come, I've noticed, with all of the Thorfire lights a little loose from the factory, so it's a good idea if you buy one to just go in and tighten this ring down. So to do that, you can use a pair of snap ring pliers, and I'm sure there's a specialized tool to do it, but I just take a screw or the tip of a pen, get it in here, put it into one of the detents, and you can see how easy it is to spin off. It shouldn't be that easy. When you buy a light from most other companies that are assembled like this, it's not that easy to take off, but that's pretty much how I found it when my son said it didn't work. Then you can just shake the components out. So in here we have the rubber button that we drop down inside. And then there is an aluminum washer. So we drop that down inside. Now the aluminum washer is what holds the button cover in place, that back button cover that gets picked out so easy. And this is the switch itself. We drop this down with the contact up. And then we have that retaining ring with the two detents that's threaded along the outside. Now this retaining ring, this little brass retaining ring, is what holds all these components together so that they get continuity with the body of the flashlight. Because it's the body of the flashlight that is the wires. Flashlights use the actual construction of the light to make continuity between the terminal on the end of the battery and the head of the flashlight. So we drop our retaining ring in there, and then we have to tighten it back up again. As you can see, it takes a little bit to get it threaded on there right, but you just tighten it around. You want to get this as tight as possible. I guess you could throw a little Loctite on there. But now that it's tight, you get your button back in, or your button cover back on the end. The retaining ring's tight. And when you put the light back together, the thing works again. So that is both the problem and the solution when you get a ThorFire VG15S or anything else by any lighting company where you start having a flickering light and then the light dies out or the cap comes off the end. Normally when you have a problem with a flashlight, if you haven't dropped it into a river or thrown it off a balcony onto concrete or something like that, the issue that you're having is a continuity issue, and most of the time that's because there's a component inside that isn't tight, whether it comes from the factory not tight enough or it's vibrated loose. You get this a lot with weapon lights, which is how I knew that that was the problem with the tail cap on the end. I hope this helps you guys out. We got a lot more flashlight reviews coming up. I'm not really intending on putting long-term durability into any of the flashlight reviews, but when I have an issue that comes up, I will make sure to make a video about it and any potential solutions to the problem that I come up with. Until next week, you guys be safe and take care of each other. I'd like to thank all the Patreon supporters, and especially the shift supervisor level Patreon supporters that we have listed here. Your contributions are what allows free field training to continue on and become better. Thank you.